Selection of components. Okay, so this is probably the most important lesson you'll have, and you'll always come back to it. Just letting you know. I'm just going to delete this out in object mode. Let's go to UV sphere. It's a little easier to illustrate this. Let's hit tab, and we can see that this is made out of many components. All the faces, all the edges, and all the vertices. And this one has a special vertice at the top. This has more than 4 going into it, so therefore it is an extraordinary vertice. Okay, so missed that on the terminology section, but that's an extraordinary vertice. More than 4 edges going into a vertice makes it extraordinary. Alright, let's look at selecting things. Let's take, and I want to select all the faces going around this object, okay, in this row only, going around. This is called an edge ring, okay. Anytime we're selecting an edge, like these edges right here, perpendicular to the object, this is an edge ring. Okay, so if we went like this and hold Shift and Alt and clicked on one of the edges, this allows you to highlight all the faces, and now we can scale them, move them, rotate them, whatever. Just practice scaling them for a minute. Use the white sphere right there to contract them in. Okay, that's very important to know how to do that. Now let's say I wanted to select only the edge. Okay, that was the faces. Well, if you go to edge and then you say Alt and Shift on an edge, this is an edge loop. Not to be mistaken by an edge ring. An edge ring is these edges all the way around the object. This one is one single edge going around the object. Okay, edge ring, edge loop. And now I can scale that edge loop all I wanted. Well, that's all well and good. But let's say I have edges and I want to convert them to faces. Why would I want to do that? Well, I'll show you. Let's highlight all the edges. Then I can go to vertex and it will highlight all the vertices. Now I could do that too by just going like this and have vertices, and I can now highlight, let's say, this edge and then hold Alt and Shift for this edge, and look at, I have the power to not only select the entire edge, but I also have the power to select all the edges going across to make an edge ring. So this one becomes more universal because I can do both and I don't have to keep switching. So I can go like this, oops, this by just clicking on the edge. Now if I highlight this edge, notice it will do that. It'll highlight the edge going all the way around the side. This edge right here is not an edge loop. It does not go all the way around the object. Therefore, it is not an edge loop. Anytime that an edge dead ends into a vertice that it's extraordinary, it's not an edge loop. And usually, these edges are very dangerous to delete. So don't do that. Anytime you delete those, it will yield bad geometry or geometry that you're not ready for yielding just yet. So all the way around, good to go. Not all the way around, don't delete. Not yet. Alright, cool. So, faces. Now you can hold Shift to highlight faces. And you can highlight any number of faces anywhere. Let's say I want to deselect faces. Multiple deselect. Okay. Shift and Control deselects. Control selects. Shift and Control, Control. Notice I'm using a marquee selection lasso tool here. So anytime I hold down Control, I have this. And anything inside of it gets selected. If I hold Shift and Control, everything gets deselected. So Control, Shift and Control. Well, why is that handy? Well, let's get into the top view. Let's hit Control and go around this object in this area. Now you notice I have that, and I want to add to the selection, I can. Very easy to add to the selection holding Control. Practice that. Now let's say I want to deselect these. Hit Shift and Control. Miss one? Just hit Control. Shift and Control. Control. Practice that. Shift and Control, Control. For like 10 minutes. Control. Just practice highlighting things. Trust me. You'll thank me later. After you get done practicing, realize that when you go to highlight geometry, it's only in the view that you're in. In other words, if I rotate this down, I do not see anything selected down here below it. Okay, why is that important? Well, if you're in a side view and you say, I want to select this entire top of it, well, that's only 1/2 of the top. You see? Now, in order to select the back side of things, there's two ways to do it. There's this thing, limit selection to visible. If you click on that, basically what will happen is it allows you to select in the back of things. See, just like that. Now, the only thing bad about this is you see through the object. It becomes very hard to comprehend things in this mode. So what I often get students to do right away is get used to using wireframe for selection. So what I do is I hit Z on the keyboard, highlight my geometry, and hit Z on the keyboard. Z is a fast shortcut, where this one is not a fast shortcut. In fact, I don't even know what the limit selection view shortcut is, but I'm sure somebody will fill in the thing below by looking it up on Google and then claiming themselves the winner. But other than that, Z on the keyboard is very handy. Alright, so that's selecting things for right now. Let's go on to the next video.